Hi, I'm Amber and I collect dead things. Oh, come on, you know you love Joseph. Look at him. Well, it's not like I can go down to Home and Bargain and just pick him up. I came across Joseph in a giveaway. This wasn't something that I straight out purchased, although I would have if I had seen him, because this is my first human skull. I do plan on getting more. Hi, I'm Amber and I collect dead things. There was never a moment that I just decided to start collecting things. It was definitely something that's happened over a long period of time. I've always loved museums and seeing different specimens, and for a long time that's all I was interested in, especially with fossils and dinosaurs, and I guess it kind of stemmed from there. The first thing I got was a death head hawk moth, and I got this from my mum for Christmas a couple years ago, and it's just been one of my favourite things because I've got a really good relationship with my mum and I love her to pieces, so this was kind of the staple of my collection for a very long time. I buy these from a number of different places. I started with established websites that are ethical taxidermy. I don't buy oddities and curiosities that have been killed for the purpose of display. I go to places like nature reserves for butterflies and things along those lines, with beetles as well. I will never go to someone that breeds them to kill them. I will make sure that they've either died from natural causes, like an accident or things along those lines, or just of old age. A lot of the time things are roadkill, like Jack here. Now Jack is a jackdaw, which is hilarious because I'm the funniest person in the world. He was roadkill, he was hit by a car, and he was displayed on this little bit of bark on the bottom, and this is a desktop mount, and there's different types of mounts as well. Famous Joseph, he was an archaeological dig find. You can tell that he has some date to him because of the patina of the skull. And what patina means is just coloration, marks, things along those lines. And we can tell a lot about Joseph from his skull. So for example, his teeth are adult teeth. You can tell a lot about his jaw because it's a larger jaw, falls down at a sharp angle, so you can tell it's a male. Another way you can tell it's a male is by how thick this portion is and the length of the skull as well, whereas female skulls will be a little bit smaller than male. And something super interesting about Joseph is that we can tell that when he was alive, he had something called Eagle syndrome, which affects the nerves. It overstimulates your nerves, so you're constantly in pain. And we can tell that he had this because of this tiny bone here, that it's longer than the average one. The average one should only come down slightly, whereas this one is very long on both sides. And this would have put him in a lot of physical pain all the time. Well, it's not like I can go down to Home and Bargain and just pick him up, but I came across Joseph in a giveaway. Actually, this wasn't something that I straight out purchased, although I would have if I had seen him. I bought 2 tickets to this giveaway for £10 each, and it turned out that I got him, and I was ecstatic. I burst out crying. As soon as I found out, I just immediately started crying, which I know is a weird thing to cry about, but I was just really excited. I messaged the person that was giving it away, and they screenshotted the conversation and posted it online, which was super funny, and everyone was super supportive because this is my first human skull. I do plan on getting more, but human skulls, you know, they're hard to come by and they're not cheap because of that, especially specimens that are more interesting, like Joseph. Because he had Eagle syndrome and you can tell that he has these things, he would be more expensive than an average skull. It's also different price ranges for infant skulls, elderly skulls, depending on the date of the skull, when it was found, where it was found. But in terms of oddities that I collect, Joseph is the most valuable. Because he has some teeth, his jaw and the eagle syndrome that you can visually see, I would say it's going to be touching more to 1,000. Whereas some skulls where it wouldn't have the mandible, or it might have some pieces missing, might be like 500, 600. So you're looking around 1,000 for a fully intact skull, something around that. But it's also like it's a huge thing to have a human skull. Like, this was a person, and it comes with a huge amount of, you have to realise how much respect you have to own something like this. This isn't something that I play with. This isn't something that I take out very often. This is the first time that he's been out of my room and out of my house since I got him. He's super important to me, and I respect everything that I have, but it punches it a bit further in when it's a human skull, I think, because as much as, say, a cat skull is something that is impressive and you show respect for it, you have a different connection to when you see a human skull. My favourite would probably be Joseph for that reason. He just completely, where it was admiring and learning little bits about oddities beforehand, Joseph really taught me about learning to respect things once they had passed away, and that is a super important thing, especially if you're going to get into collecting. You have to know where they've come from, if they're ethically sourced, because it does put a huge strain on things. There are different laws in different countries about what you can and can't have, and what you can and cannot buy and sell. For example, you could own a turtle shell, but you cannot purchase it. You have to be given it. And especially if you're going to forage for things yourself, you have to be very aware of the laws of the place that you're in, or the county that you're in. For example, if somewhere here in Liverpool city region, a brown bat had killed itself by flying into a window, you cannot bring that into your house without reporting it and disposing of it because of different diseases that they carry. Another thing is, a lot of people will get bird skulls and feathers from beaches. You need to know what's going around in the animal kingdom and what things, and be aware of protecting yourself from them. Something that's going around recently is the bird flu, which humans can catch from birds. So you need to be super careful if you're deciding that you want to go and collect things. You have to be really informed about how to do things, what's legal, what's not legal, what's safe and what isn't. Yeah, there definitely is a community for oddities. Like, I know a lot of the shop owners by their first name now, and I will speak to them directly rather than going through the website. So if I see a listing for something that I really want, for example, let's say a toucan, right? There's a toucan on the website and it's listed for a little bit more than I can afford, I would message them on Facebook and be like, hi friend, is that for the best price you can give me on that, or can you give me a little bit more? So it really depends. A lot of them are online, but I have met a couple people that collect oddities as well as an online community. There is a physical community of us as well. I have a couple of friends that collect things, maybe not to the massive extent that my collection has got to, but I definitely like sharing different things and showing off the histories of different pieces that you have. I definitely am going to add more to my collection. It's kind of, if I see an inch of wall space, I'm kind of like, well, there's an oddity that's like an inch that I can like put in that space. And my older sister has just moved out, and she's moved in with her partner, and that means her room is now free. So, and she has the big room because she was the big sister. So I've got loads of room to play with now. I just hope she doesn't, come back and want the space back. This is a thorny stick. This is one thing in my collection that I am still scared of. I feel that if something scares you, you need to challenge that feeling. Why does it scare you? Why are you uncomfortable? And if it's irrational, then rationalise it. So that's the process that I'm going through with this piece currently. This is an example of an item that I bought from one of the websites of people that I've now known through online social media. This is a caiman. This is a more recent piece that I've collected, so I cannot tell you too much about it, but isn't it impressive? This is normally put on a shield and then put up on a wall and displayed like this. This is a wet specimen, which means it's preserved with injecting formaldehyde into the specimen and then putting alcohol. That's kind of a really shortened process of it, but this is a wet specimen. This is a chameleon. Another example of a wet specimen that I have is this snake. It was one of my first wet specimens as well. I had a huge thing about wet specimens because it's the closest thing to them still looking alive, and I could learn the most from something when it was still in that state. This is one of the weirder things in my collection because you can't immediately tell what it is. This is a fossilised whale eardrum. Another example of fossils are trilobites. Trilobites are pretty popular within the fossil community because you can get the hands on a lot of them. This one is 470 million years old. Now this janky piece is janky because I put it together. This is a sheep spine with the bottom attached still with the vertebrae. This was a sheep that fell into a ditch in Wales and passed away, and I was sent these and I cleaned these myself, and it's quite a lengthy process, but it definitely turned out pretty cool even though it is a little bit DIY, and this hangs on my wall in my room. Look at Joseph, he's so handsome. Oh come on, you know you love Joseph. Look at him. Would you like to hold him? Do you want to touch him? Would you like to touch anything else?